Welcome back to Inside the Coverage. This is the Week 15 edition. First of all, thanks EA for joining me once again.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about you, but definitely surprised to when I was typing up the graphic this morning and I put a 0 in there for the Bengals. It was a weird thought in my mind, like, is this real? And then
Yeah.
as soon as you joined in and we started talking pre-show, you pretty much said the same thing.
Yeah. When it showed up on my screen before you and I were face to face here, that was odd just to see 24-0. I even though, of course I watched the game, but really shocking, almost like I don't remember it or something.
Yeah, we had one other game this year, I believe, where we held a team to single digits. That was the Jets, right?
Yeah. Jets, I forget what the score was, but
But
yeah.
look at the difference, that you're talking about in quarterback talent, receiver talent that's out there. How the Bengals think they're a good team, even though they're obviously not at this point. What 4-9,
Yeah.
something like that.
Mhm.
The Jets know that they're not a good team, so for us to hold the Jets to single digits kind of makes sense. The Bengals, it doesn't. This to me looks like a game that, excuse me, my perception would be that this is a game that's going to be, it's 24-20 or 24-21, and someone's going to win on the last drive.
Yeah. One of the things is if we had beaten them 24-14, I'd be less encouraged. 24-0, it's hard to shut anybody out. And definitely the D came ready to play this week.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on some of the things that appeared a little different this week from a defensive standpoint, which is what we focus on here. I said to you, I feel like we were less intentionally chaotic over the whole defense, but specifically the guys up front. It's somebody in the Ravens Discord said it really well. They said, the basic difference that I saw was we're not mugging with both inside linebackers. We're only mugging with one. And it's like, well, okay, I understand that, but I still felt like I saw more traditional defense being played, meaning our feet pre-snap were in a location that fit our post-snap assignment versus all the moving parts that we've shown at times that have, that you and I believe have come back to haunt us, like the Jalen Warren touchdown last week in the third quarter.
There was a relaxed nature as you watched the defense, for sure, certainly up front. And to me, and hopefully I can show some of this, I thought there was more of an emphasis on disguise on the back end. Like I said, hopefully I can show a little bit of that. But they felt more in control, more relaxed. I don't know how much having Ardarius and Robinson back in rotation helped this team. The pass rush was, every time Burrow dropped back, I kind of felt like he had to get the ball out quick. And that's the first time I felt that way this year.
Yeah, and it seemed like on some situations I don't know if I really want to say his internal clock was sped up, but I think there's two plays, maybe one that one of us is going to show. At this point, I don't remember who, but where Burrow actually has time and kind of, it's Ardarius's first snap. I think I have it, but I could be wrong. It's the first play where Ardarius is on the field. It's a 3rd and 9. And Burrow actually has time. I'm not saying that there's anyone open where he's looking, but if he was looking to chase his side, Chase is open. It's a vertical shot. But Burrow has already checked it down to one of the tight ends. I think it's Gesicki. Ardarius goes low on him. I think Roquan from inside out hits Gesicki at the same time. And it's kind of like, yes, as a quarterback, you've got to get the ball out within a certain time frame. He actually did have more time on that particular play, but he didn't think he did, which is kind of speaking to your point that we were getting there more often, and we were getting there generally sooner than we have been when we've been showing all these mug looks pre-snap.
Did you think he had an odd game? I thought Burrow. I think it's difficult to imagine him coming back on the field, 5 or 6 days after his comments and his press conference that got a lot of attention and being ready to play. He was not looking for Jamar Chase on a number of occasions where he had a shot at him. That play that you're referencing, he didn't look to the side of the field that Chase was on. I think he does look, but he sees two guys in coverage and he just immediately goes away. And Chase comes open deep. Is that right?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
That's the one. And I felt like, to your point about the disguise being more on the back end. First of all, those are our more athletic guys. They're more agile. They have better foot speed, just to be generic. And they're also the guys who should be asked to be more multiple.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do what, one or two Tampa 2 coverages?
Two of them. Yeah.
And in one of those, Starks is up there at outside corner. Yeah, so my point there is, he's obviously a safety, and he's versatile, though. We know that from his time at Georgia. We know that. We know that there's, he spent time covering in the slot like pure man. We definitely, I think, were more the front 4/5. There was more organic rush attempts than my memory, can recall from previous games. I don't have the data or the stats to really back that up, but so many guys up front were playing well at the same time that it seemed as if we're less focused on trickery with the front 5, or front 6. Draymond Jones was, man, you watch him play that game, and I don't know about you, but I'm like, can we re-sign this guy now? Can we keep him around right now? Because
super physical. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't see where we're going to draft someone with our other needs. Don't see where we're going to draft someone who could come in and play to the level that Draymond Jones can.
Gilman as well. Man, what a game from him. Yeah, just really impressed watching him play.
8 tackles, very active. And, tackling's been something that a lot of people have focused on. Fine. I don't think they're necessarily wrong. Sometimes he's a little high tackling, and maybe a little bit, maybe he almost looks like he's got shorter arms on some of his tackles because he's unable to corral or control the ball carrier or the receiver and really, finish him off. And that's fine if people want to say that, but you can't say that this week because he was all over the place, especially into the boundary. I'll have, I think, 2 plays of his to show. What do you want to talk about the Hamilton stuff that we did earlier, or would you rather just cover it in film format?
Yeah, we can do.
We both noticed
either one. We both brought this up at the same time this morning, where we felt that Kyle wasn't playing sort of underneath zone coverages with discipline, and sometimes he was too intent on getting. Driving on an underneath route and giving something an out route to Chase on one occasion where they ended up giving up 18 yards on a 1st and 20. But there was more than a couple occasions where I felt like his discipline in terms of where he was supposed to play was off, and they gave up some open stuff.
Absolutely agree. That's, it's, I don't know about for you, but for me, if I notice something, because I do this individually, you and I collaborate here, and we do communicate during the week leading up to this time. Wednesday happens fast, though. Today still feels like it should be Tuesday for me. Maybe that's from lack of sleep. But when you get confirmation, for me at least, like from someone like you or Coach Evans, Cole Jackson, Jason at Huddle It Up Films, multiple other guys, or even people in my Ravens Discord, when there's some alignment with someone mentioning something that I noticed, but I wasn't necessarily ready yet to talk about, it kind of opens the door. Because for me, I was surprised the first 2 times I saw it. And again, the play you talked about is a 1st and 20. It's a 1st and 20. So why are we up there at 4 yards depth on 1st and 20? We would prefer 2nd and 14, dude, rather than, well, it was an 18-yard gain, ended up being 2nd and 2. There's a lot of space between Kyle as a second-level defender and Wiggins, who I thought in that moment was relying on some help there. So I don't say it's concerning. I don't think it's a long-term issue. But point being, it's something that, for me, I would expect Kyle Hamilton to be better.
Yeah, it was the very first drive as well. It was the first drive, and they were moving the ball. Ultimately, we get off the field, but 1st and 20, you'd like to think you can shut them down, particularly the way the defense was playing later. But like we said, I saw Kyle do it I mentioned 2 times. You've seen him do it 3 times in that game. Thought it was a little strange. Um,
First 2 times, like I said, I was surprised, and the 3rd time I saw it, I was like, "All right, this is just what you're doing today, dude. You know,
yeah.
this is just what you're doing." And as a coach, the only way that I've ever been able to observe something be fixed or force it to be fixed myself is to pull the player off the field for one play and say, "Look, you're off for this play because you've done this the wrong way multiple times, and if you want to go back out there on every single snap, then you need to fix this problem right now."
Mhm.
And that's the only way that I've ever seen those things fixed immediately. Think of like boxers or any athlete in general. They've got patterns of behavior. That to me was surprising that he was so shallow, especially on 1st and 20.
I've got the play up if you wanna just not watch the whole play, but we can just
Yeah,
illustrate it if you want.
there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, here's Kyle. Here's the out route being run. Again, it's 1st and 20. You get Wiggins kind of pressing up and then bailing.
Hmm.
And then really you've got 2 guys. This is your curl flat. Roquan might have the back, or he's definitely the hook here. Um, but you can see really a lot of attention. This is just, I don't know what this would be, 4 yards where you could drive on this if the ball comes out. And he's got his eyes to the quarterback, but certainly he's allowing this to come open behind him.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing I love about the program that we're using is that, well, no, first of all, you can see it on the film. You can see that the line to gain is the -42. But to me, Wiggins' connection or lack thereof to Chase is somewhat related to the fact that he thinks he's got help underneath. He thinks that
Yep.
there's going to be Burrow would have to make a layered throw over the top of Kyle Hamilton or around him, however you want to describe it. And in this case, he might as well not even be on the field on that particular throw, meaning Hamilton, he's so shallow, he's so close. And for it to happen with Kyle Hamilton multiple times it was surprising, especially given that the rest of the defense played so exceptional,
Right.
on the day. It's a small thing, it's a minute thing. It doesn't mean that Kyle Hamilton played poorly overall, but when you're playing curl flat, which is what we think that's quarter half or cover 6.
Yeah, it looks it.
You pull it back a little bit to where
Yep.
we can kind of see everybody set up. Yeah, it's starting to look like it, right? Because
Yeah,
Wiggins is
certainly.
getting off. Huh. Almost looks like a man match down at the bottom as far as the route, the way it works
Uh-huh.
out.
Is that
Right.
Teddy in the hook? That is Teddy. Okay.
Yeah, it's before he got hurt, I think, right?
Yep. Yep.
Do you want to start us off with one of the Tampa twos? I think it's the 4th and 4 that we kind of disguise.
Yeah.
And is this is the one that Awuzie kind of gives away a little bit?
He does. Yeah. A lot of the 3-by-1 coverages we ended up running Tampa. I don't know, coach 3, 4 times during the game, bunch. But one of the things I just want to point out is how they're disguising stuff. I think, which is really neat. You see a very clear look here with 88 in motion and Marlon
Mhm.
following him. A very clear,
Man.
perhaps old school indicator, like, hey, we're in man here. So you could, and you see a middle of the field safety, kind of indicating the same, like a man free. And once the ball snapped, we see the guy lined up over the inside receiver. This is Awuzie, as you said. He kind of earlier, maybe we can see that, maybe not. Maybe we can see that if I back it up a little bit. He comes up, he starts bailing to the half early. Let's see, I'll go back a little bit. And
it gives it away a little bit.
He does. And I think we see Burrow change the play here.
Yep.
I didn't get it.
No, yeah, he absolutely does. He does. He moves a little bit and gets some depth early. And I think I mentioned it in the first video I did this week. To me, it almost seemed connected to, super cold out there. Burrow's got the pocket jersey or the jersey pocket, whatever.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I've seen really good coaches do with quarterbacks in cold weather situations is, hey, take your hands out of your pocket and let's fake the cadence, whether we're in the gun or under center. because
Interesting.
they're going to think that you're taking your hands out of your pockets so that you can snap the football.
Right.
Burrow, in this case, on this one here, to get Awuzie to move, took his hands out of his pockets, number one. And second, he also licked his hand, I think, twice. It's 4th and 4. I'm throwing the football. We know this.
Yeah.
Trying to get some friction for your hands. And so Awuzie then moved because he thought, we're getting ready to get the ball snapped. As soon as Burrow put his hands out, that's when it happened, I think.
Yeah, you get the idea of the Tampa pole runner here,
Yeah.
with him turning to the strong side and running with whatever is seam.
Yep.
And then you get this coverage here, this kind of outside over the top switch coverage. Pretty good throw. Really nice play by the safety too, to kind of take that away, make that even more difficult. I don't know. I bet we could make a little bit of an issue here with Kyle as well. You see this route coming across. This is another instance where you don't get the sense that Burrow's really looking for Chase, because he's open here.
Chase. I was going to say Chase. I said it in the video I talked about. I was like, man, just why aren't you throwing the football to Chase right now? I wonder if Burrow didn't know that it was a Tampa 2, but it's like Roquan's got his back to you. I mean, that screams Tampa 2 to me. So that area is open by definition.
To me, he's got. I think he realizes with Awuzie bailing and giving it away early that they're playing a half field coverage to that side.
Right.
But maybe he predetermines, hey, I'm going to take that seam shot and he doesn't. Yeah, he's got to see him. He has to see him here. I think he just thinks he can make a great throw.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that touchdown to 80 against us in Baltimore.
A lot.
Then we're playing a half-man technique, or excuse me, a half-field technique, but we're only doing it with one safety. We're basically playing cover 2 with Starks, but there was no safety on the other side, right? So
that's right.
Those things didn't seem to happen this week on the back end. We're making a small technical complaint or discussion about Kyle Hamilton's depth, which is a very minute detail, but we're not talking about, hey, why are we playing cover 2 on this side? And then we've got no safety deep at all on the other side. So Burrow's got the whole field open versus this throw. It's, he's put it in Gesicki's range, I guess, but you've got Roquan underneath in what I call the low window. Roquan's in the low window, so Burrow's got to throw it in the high window. And then Awuzie is outside of that as well, so he's converging. I like the coverage. I like the switch, even though Burrow knows it's not man.
Maybe the safety. Maybe if the safety's away, that's a touchdown. Meaning, like similar to the game you referenced. But
Awuzie?
Yeah. I just love the fact that this looks like man. And we see Humphrey play the hook, drop out into the hook, and there's the audible.
And then you know who that is up top of our screen? That's Starks.
Right here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Who's he over? Is that a tight end, a wide receiver?
That's a tight end.
Is it?
So in terms, maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe we've got Awuzie. Awuzie's feet are on the 26, right? He's the guy with the purple line getting. Marlon is the nickel. Kyle is the dime. That looks like 24 to me up there. That's not Wiggins. Certainly not Awuzie. We've already ID'd where he is. That can be no one else.
This is great too. He splits. His job here is to split 1 and 2, and then for him to see both go under and then get over top of this. It's a nice play by Awuzie.
And I think to your point about showing man, we've got Marlon moving across with the tight end, Wiggins and Starks up top with the tight end. I think that's Hudson, 87, the guy who scored the touchdown against Hamilton in Baltimore when he kind of pushed off.
Right.
So we've done everything we can do here to make it look like man, and then Awuzie, unfortunately, quote, gives it away briefly, but Burrow still doesn't know that it's going to be a Tampa.
Right.
I don't think so, but he knows that it's not man if Awuzie's backing off. Awuzie's lined up over Chase. Chase is 3, right? He's number 3.
Yeah, which is super interesting. You know, um, that's who I'm worried about. And you don't see much of a. Well, Gilman looks back right here.
Yeah. I love Tampa too. I really do. It's
I love
a
it.
coverage that I really like. I think it's geometrically appropriate for the width of the football field.
Mm.
If you've got safeties with some range. In this case, I feel like Awuzie did a pretty nice job impersonating a half-field safety on that throw to Gesicki. Would
Yeah.
you agree or no?
Yeah. I think he plays it well.
You mind if I throw up 2 plays from our guy Gilman, or did you want to do the end zone angle there?
Oh no, this is good. We're good.
All right. I agree with you. I like the Tampa 2 variations, and I feel like our guys executed them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the important thing. All right, so I'm going to talk about Gilman. This is going to be 2 plays in a row just to illustrate kind of the variety of what he gave us. Maybe a third play snuck in, really quickly. So if you guys can see it, hopefully the font is big enough. The company here that we use is called Quick Cut. Man, really amazing. The font used to be kind of small, like this font here that I have highlighted. And then I contacted them on a Tuesday, asked about the option to change the font or increase it. And by Tuesday evening, they had pushed that update out.
Yeah, you don't
Pretty
see
amazing.
that. That's cool.
No, it's like Huddle, but better because you've got different colors to use, and there's other guys out there that are obviously using Huddle because when they're, annotating, they've only got yellow. That's Huddle.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, this is the second possession, and this is a really nice fill by Gilman on a somewhat unique version of what I'd call split zone, but it's a same side split zone. So the tight end is going to motion, up to their left, and then he's going to come back and he's going to kick out Ojabo. Ojabo, I feel like, kind of tries to dig to the inside here, and it just to me illustrates that we're not totally integrated Ojabo with the defense and what's happening, because there goes Gilman, through this gap on a quick, immediate read. He doesn't finish the tackle. I think they did not give Gilman credit for this tackle here, so he probably gets a missed tackle, right?
Ojabo gets the credit on this one. I've seen this.
Yeah. But he kind of folds to the inside, he being Ojabo, and it's like, man, compress the tight end down. Trust your teammate to be there. And in my opinion, he's kind of torqued his bodies end up kind of torqued. Me being Ojabo, I'd like to see him compress that tight end down from an outside in perspective. Basically, stay in your gap, but tighten up this gap in here that Gilman's already filled. And then instead of a 3-yard gain, maybe it's 1. I'm being kind of picky, and I know we're talking about Gilman, but just something I noticed from an Ojabo standpoint. Again, it's a small detail maybe. He does get the tackle. It's a 3-yard gain. I think we could have played it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Same play from the end zone angle. Gilman's the boundary side safety. So what I mean when I say that, for those of you guys who aren't sure, that's typically what I use to illustrate, the hash that the ball is on. In this case, it's the right hash for the offense. Gilman is into the boundary, the short side of the field, versus Starks, who's typically set up to the wide side. Starks actually was off the field a couple of times this game in favor of Ardarius. But it's a same side split zone, meaning the running back is on the same side as his intended direction.
Yeah.
So same side runs are a pain, man, defensively, because in the old days, when you first started to see everyone go to the shotgun, everything was crossing the quarterback's face. These kind of people who have gone to these same side runs, it makes it a pain to defend them because it just gives them another option. It gives them another width that they can attack. So here's Gilman on the immediate fill. I know we're talking about coverage generally. I like how he skips through here.
Yeah.
Kind of skip through. We get over the top. Could be why he missed the tackle. He's also a little high. And again, there's, I don't know his arm length or strength or upper body strength, but there's plenty of times where the contact is up high, and he's unable to corral or control, the running back. I still like the play, even though it's a missed tackle. He was very decisive this week.
Yeah. Immediate read. You see the wideout try to come over and get him. There's just no shot. He's downhill.
Immediate, fill against the run, and the same thing applies against the pass. This is also on the second possession, and he's going to tackle Chase. It's like a low drag across the field. So Chase is up here. Kind of tightly aligned with, I believe that's Gesicki. And so Wiggins is guarding Chase. Look at the space there is between Wiggins and Chase already. Wiggins is communicating something to Hamilton to let him know about the release. So here's the routes that we get. It's a drag by Chase. Gesicki kind of later developing in cut. You get a clear out down here. I'm not exactly sure what the route is at the bottom side of the screen by Mitchell Tinsley. But in any case, look how decisive Gilman is. Yes, they didn't have T. Higgins, so it'd be simplistic for someone to say, oh, well, he couldn't do that if they had T. Higgins on the field. Well, then Joe Burrow would be throwing the ball to T. Higgins, 8, 10 times, and we would see how it works out there. Hopefully he's able to come back to full health, even though, I'm not a Bengals fan. Obviously, like seeing a dude have multiple concussions, I think, like 4-week period, and then still go out there to practice, it was kind of scary if you ask me. But it's a great job by Gilman, recognizing this, tracking all the way across the field. Again, this is a 3rd and 4.
Wow.
So it's critical.
The pre-snap look is 2, right? Like two deep or half fields.
Yeah, those two.
And then he's kind of like the whole player here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You call him the rat, right?
Yeah. And it looks like Burrow wants the seam to the bottom of the screen the whole time. He's got a first down here more than likely if he gets this ball out, but he doesn't look at Chase until after the seam is covered.
Too late. It's like too late, yeah.
But yeah.
I always like to stop it when the quarterback gets his back foot. When he plants that back foot, boom, right there. You can tell the quarterbacks that are totally aligned and prepared for each situation because the ball is coming out, pretty much immediately thereafter. And it oftentimes was not. Look at the hesitation that you get from Burrow.
Yeah, very strange there for him not. That's a probable first down.
I feel like Gilman was able to impact. This is going to kind of lead into something you're going to talk about here in a moment. I feel like Gilman was able to, because of his positioning post-snap, he was able to impact multiple routes sometimes. This could be one of them. He's kind of in between. I'm not talking about this seam route. Actually, that's Tinsley there. I'm talking about the 2 routes from the top side of the screen. Chase, and then it's Gesicki on this kind of later developing in cut. But Burrow definitely seems to be looking down here. Initially, I agree. Certainly not his best game.
Is it unfair to say that they fooled him? I think that's maybe a little off base for me to say that, where they show 2 and then rotate 1, where he thinks he doesn't have a middle of the field safety, but
right. So he thinks that this route is going to be there to split those 2 safeties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Possible. That's one of the things that, even with Lamar, I try to not phrase it that way. And I understand your hesitation. It's the same thing that I have, is like, I don't know what that guy was just told in his headset or his helmet, by the coach. And of course, the quarterbacks can't reply back. They can't respond back. So whatever they're told, hey, we think we're getting this coverage here, look there, it could be independent of the read that most people would assume. I actually do want to show one more thing about Gilman. Now, this is actually the play we were talking about earlier, not the one where he takes away 2 or 3 routes from a read, because I know you've got that one set up, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a 3rd and 9 on the 3rd possession, and we did this multiple times. First of all, you can see the communication that's occurring, like a raven or something that's flying. It's Roquan, Hamilton, Gilman, Ardarius, all making that check. I feel like Ardarius is going to be a big help for this team.
Yeah,
especially in these dime situations. which is what we're in right now. Roquan and Hamilton are the linebackers on the field. In any case, this is the one where Burrow has more time than he thinks he does. And what I want to focus on, it's a very small, soft skill here, is Gilman from inside out, jamming Chase. Now, Chase does end up being open. He does. If Burrow holds on to the ball or holds on to the look a little bit more. And so what I mean is I think Burrow is looking down here now. This is the only route at the bottom side of the screen. This is the only route to that side. So I think he's looking down here at something. What he's confirming, no idea. What I like is that by jamming from an inside out, even though we don't get a real huge piece of him, that should help Wiggins out. I feel like Wiggins is doing a really poor job of getting his hips turned, but Wiggins is also worried about this route here, which Chase is excellent at winning on. So that's not the route that Chase runs. He runs this route, and he is open. Don't get me wrong. He is open. But Burrow has already moved off of that read. Chase is reacting down the field. You can see him. Wiggins too square, if you ask me. Because he's got – how do I say this? This help, in my opinion, is designed to take away anything that's an in cut, anything that's a in cut for Chase, and basically give you two things to defend: the vertical and the deep out. And in this case, we just guessed wrong, but it's a really nice tackle by our Darius, man, getting depth, coming downhill, tackling that tight end. I think it's
look at that rally. Look at those guys rallying to the football there.
Yep,
5 guys.
Even Van Noy. From a pass rush standpoint. Another one of those, what I would say, organic 4-man rushes, even though we are mugged up with Hamilton and Roquan. When I say organic, what I mean is an inside linebacker is dropping out and a dime linebacker / safety is dropping out. We're not dropping out Draymond Jones. Well, actually, we did do that one time this game, and we got burned on it, Chase.
I didn't like that. Yeah. Yep.
You remember that one?
I do. It was early, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Really nice job, if you ask me. We're definitely open here if Burrow is willing to throw it. I think but he's on the Chase read first and then comes off of it, probably because of Gilman's positioning inside out.
That's right.
I feel like he played a very intelligent game. Yeah,
seeing the two guys in coverage takes him off that read, particularly with Gilman's proximity. It's interesting. You see Higgins kind of double over to come down and play the out.
Yeah.
When Chase kind of does the little fake, but
the little step to the outside doesn't take much for those corners to bite on it, because Chase has got to, even though he's being somewhat impeded by Gilman, he's on a free run. I mean, it's one of the things you look at when people play cover 2, like old school cover 2. Hey, let me jam him to the inside and funnel him to the safety. The safety's got a little bit of help because he's, his release has been impeded. We didn't impede the release off the line, but Gilman at least helped out from an inside-out standpoint. I feel like Zach Orr's plan for some of these situations was very intelligent. And the application of it, the execution of it, I guess, on the field, oftentimes by Gilman was really high level.
Right. It seems Chase. It's interesting. It seems so Chase-centric, the way they played in coverage this game, and a game where, for whatever reason, Burrow doesn't seem as centered on him. Maybe because of that.
Maybe he's seeing intel pictures, whatever, during the course of the game. Oh, they're doing this. That whole, flapping the arm signal could have been something to do with, Chase being the backside number 1, as opposed to, the previous play where I showed Gilman making the tackle on him on the low drag running across. He's not set up as the solo X into the boundary. You actually had another one on Gilman to show, right?
I do.
We kind of set it up that way.
Yeah.
But his play warrants it. I think his play warrants it. He's very sharp into the boundary. Huge help against the run and the pass.
I'm up if you're ready.
Yeah, sorry. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, I start this play here because we see two things, at least 2 things. A guy running in man, I think that's Wiggins, but Chase in motion to that side, and you see this conversation here. So it makes me wonder, what's going on in terms of the call pre-motion. It ends up, I believe, we'll see from the all 22, but I believe it starts 3-by-1, ends 2-by-2, and this sort of coverage, we see the Ravens play a lot, or some in these situations, 2-by-2 with dime personnel. But we're going to see split field look here, or half field look by the safeties, and we're going to see post snap. We're going to see Starks in the middle of the field with Gilman kind of playing that rat role here with everybody else in man. We see him come down here. Really, I think reading the quarterback, reading Chase. Chase doesn't run a route to inside, goes off of that.
Yep. Quickly.
Takes this route away. So he's kind of following anything that might cross is really his responsibility here. You see him get under that route as he backpedals. And even as Burrow is being flushed, you see him come across and take this crossing route.
Gasecki.
Yep.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's spectacular. You're talking about.
Oh, and here's another one, Coach, right here. Another one right here.
So how far do you want to count? Like, this is the offsetting penalties. This is the offsetting penalties.
Right. Yeah, this is just I think there's 4 routes that he covers here. Just great awareness in that role.
This is one of those things for high school, you want accountability for any athlete, for anyone that's in your charge or under your supervision. And we used to track certain defensive stats, obviously tackles, sacks, forced fumbles, etc. But one of these things we felt like was called routes taken away, and RTs, routes taken. It may not be your man, but like, let's say, for example, that you're guarding a tight end and the tight end doesn't release and you find work to help out your partner to the outside on like a slant or a dig or something like that. We call it RT, route taken. And it was points. You got a point for it. So for me, like Gilman might almost be a 3-point play. Definitely 2.
You see him getting depth here, even as the quarterback kind of eyes that part of the field.
His eyes are noticeable here.
And then he's going to read. Is that Chase coming across?
Coming back, yeah.
Chase gets under that. He really does take that away. Now Burrow's not in a great position to get rid of the football here, but that's a dangerous receiver coming across the field. So the way he plays his role here is pretty darn special.
Can you do the all 20? Do you have the all 22 earlier?
Yeah. So there's the motion. Let's see. And there's the rotation with the middle of the field safety.
And now he's got eyes on, that's Chase ran the out, but he had eyes on that. And now he's picking up the other route that's outside in. Basically, if 2 goes out, 1's coming in.
Yep, it is. And he's under that route. And then his eyes go back here, coming across. So he's really just picking up anything coming across the middle.
I know you're a basketball guy too, or at least used to be, like me. I used to be. Mm-hmm. It almost kind of reminds me of the super active. If you've seen them, you've seen them. The super active zone defense groups that, like, the ball moves here and a guy hawks it, and then they get rid of the ball. He's back on the other player. It's like this ping pong effect. He's super quick and agile here, but also very prepared for the moment and the route schemes that developed. Awesome.
I almost see a split right here. He's looking at the quarterback, reading the quarterback. Split of these 2 guys, taking away any kind of like window to this side, but then he's going to get, I guess that's
Chase again.
Chase. Yeah, that's a big deal because he's coming, he's got some separation there. I forget what happens pass rush wise here.
We've got a penalty on, I believe, on their offensive line, and then Marlin for defensive hold, I believe. Okay. I know it's offsetting penalties.
Yeah, some pressure. Obviously, some pressure here. Who is that on the outside getting the pressure?
Probably Draymond Jones would be my guess.
I think so. It's Travis. No, there's Travis there, and Van Noy outside. It's almost. Yeah. Okay. So I was going to say almost.
I think they called a hold on Orlando Brown. There's a huge conversation in social media by a lot of like offensive line experts, and they're not wrong. These they call them snatch traps by the tackles are
Uh-huh.
being they're being assessed a penalty for a hold. And I'm not necessarily talking about this play, but it kind of Orlando Brown's response to some of these pass rushes almost looks like he's trying to accept the blow, accept the first strike, and then knock the hands down, knock the rusher's hands down. I feel like that's what happens here, but I'm not saying it's a snatch trap necessarily. Yeah. So he drew
Yeah,
his
he's
hand.
so yeah, he's so big, he can just kind of back up and keep his body in the
I think he
pass
shoots
rush.
his hand out, his left hand out to
Uh-huh.
elicit the move from Draymond. Then he retracts his hand and then pushes it back out and then tries to, top down Draymond Jones. Whether it's a hold or not, I don't know. Maybe that's not what was called. I think it was, but I could be wrong. Certainly doesn't look like it there to me.
Mm-mm.
I think we got a great illustration of why Gilman was brought in here. If we're going to get this kind of play from Gilman every week, it's a great move.
Great play. Great game. Great game.
That was what, a 3rd and 9?
Second. Okay.
I'm thinking of a different play.
3rd and 4. 3rd and 4.
3rd and 4.
Yeah.
I've got another. Let's see. You're going to do another Tampa play here in a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do one that's us kind of dropping out, but also matching. Unless you still had more to add there.
Nope. I'm good.
Let me see what I got here. Come on. Sorry. I'm still not conversant with the StreamYard sometimes. So this is the first possession. You've actually done the 4th down play already. The Tampa 2,
Right.
the incompletion to Gesicki, where we both think that, Chase is open underneath that Tampa 2.
Mm-hmm.
But Burrow, goes to Gesicki. So this is the previous snap. This is the 3rd and 4, the one that almost ends up being grounding. I think the refs actually spend time talking about it. The stunt, I know he doesn't have the sack production this year, but clearly, Van Noy's making an impact. He had the interception and lateral handoff, whatever, to Gilman. And then his ability to execute this stunt has been tremendous. It's almost like he kind of hops through.
A little delay.
Yeah. He's really good at it. I feel like Van Noy, post-career is obviously going to have a career in broadcast journalism or something, breaking down games and talking. But if he didn't want to do that, I feel like he'd be a great coach because the guy has done everything and seen it all, So from a coverage standpoint, we obviously only have one high safety, and it's Starks. And I think we've got Chase up here to the top side of our screen. But post-snap, we've already started dropping guys out. So I like that. I feel like that's an advancement or somewhat of an adaptation that we haven't used a ton. And what I mean is Hamilton and Gilman, hey, I'm going to drop out. I don't necessarily need to be right here at the snap. I can go ahead and get my feet into the responsibility that I have post-snap. I feel like that showed up more this week.
Nice catch on that, Coach. That's interesting.
And then Van Noy on the stunt is what's going to clear or get Burrow to clear out of the pocket. But the tracking that we have with Wiggins, I think probably just matching number 1, and then Gilman is going to take over number 2, which is really just a running back from the boundaries. Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown's a good player, man.
Mm-hmm.
I like the production. So we got a Awuzie up here, and again, I think it's against Chase, and I think that's where Burrow is probably getting ready to go with this football. But that's right around the time that our boy Van Noy shows up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is one of those where it's like, Joe, why didn't you throw that football to Chase? I think he's getting ready to, and Van Noy's stunt works. Again, it's a 3rd and 4 preceding the 4th down that you showed earlier. End zone angle, just so you guys can confirm it, that that Burrow's probably getting ready to throw the football to Chase up there. Some kind of communication between Kyle and Roquan. I like those guys being next to each other.
Yeah, that's it. That was an interesting moment, I think, because that gives the quarterback and the offensive line a little something to think about there as well, in terms of whether one of them is coming or both of them are coming.
I didn't think they played well here from a responsibility standpoint. That's the guy that Tavius got through twice on.
Mm-hmm.
The sack on the first possession, and then the glitch blitz, which I guess I'll talk about later in a few for the 500th time. And then this guy I didn't think played well from a physical standpoint. Travis Jones really put it on him. That's Dalton Risner. So there's the stunt working through. I think Orlando Brown is – I don't know if that's on face mask or that's just on the shoulder pad. Maybe it's just on the shoulder pad. I originally thought it was face mask. But Burrow is setting up, if you ask me, looking here initially, and then I think he's come back to the left, and he notices Van Noy. You can see his helmet kind of turn here looking at Chase. Oh, there's Van Noy. So maybe he was going to go up top to Chase. It's against Awuzie. I feel like there's a level of respect that the Bengals have for Awuzie. I just really do.
Maybe.
Because they're so familiar with him. This is really close to grounding, and I think it's a poor decision, man. I get it that people are going to say, oh, you're throwing the ball away trying to avoid a sack. This is really close to being a pick six, with Hamilton sitting out there with that kind of range. I feel like we're a step and a half away from this being a pick six. That ball bounces on the 32?
Coach, I said right before he throws us that ball on the play you're going to cover in a little bit, I said to my wife, he's going to throw us one. He just had that air about him all day.
Yep.
Burrow did.
Did not look.
Didn't care. I mean, I don't want to say didn't care.
Yeah, you could be right. I mean, he didn't look integrated in the game like our quarterback did. Lamar, scrambling around when need be, finding receivers. Lamar threw the ball really well down the field, other than the one possible interception that hits DJ Turner in the face.
Right.
I think in the second quarter. You had another Tampa 2 that you wanted to cover, right?
Yeah. It's another instance of these 3-by-1s with the Ravens. Playing this Tampa coverage, I think it's interesting. You get this like too tight look, this rotation. Yeah. So again, this idea of like these communications going on with the Ravens. I guess that the idea of disguise not as much here, but being able to kind of check out of a coverage or into a coverage. And then we'll look at the all 22. Here's the 3 guys to that side. Again, they motioned in or shifted into that double tight.
Now, is that Hamilton up there to the top lined up as an OLB? So we are in our nickel look, but Hamilton is technically playing outside linebacker right there?
Yeah, that is Hamilton. And he's
wow.
So here's the again, the post-snap rotation. It's interesting off of shifts where we go kind of into this post-snap too high Tampa look. Again, with Roquan running the seam. This is actually a game that the Bengals get. I think they pick up 7 on 2nd and 6 here.
It's like running back in the flats, and Wiggins tackles him, but maybe the guy gets a couple extra yards, right?
Yeah, and I think obviously he's concerned about Chase here in this window. So that's just a nicely set up play, I think, by the Bengals.
Basically slant flat, right?
Yep. But just wanted to show it because we're seeing this Tampa coverage a lot, at least in this game against 3-by-1.
Well,
there was another instance where I think Starks did not get the call right, and we see him giving up something deep. He's supposed to be our half field player, but he's kind of underneath, and I have that one. But anyway, we saw it, I think, at
Yeah,
least 3 or 4 times during the game.
it's Chase for like 25 or 30 or maybe even more than that, I think.
Okay, right. They do. Is that? I think it's the play where he breaks the ball up. Starks breaks the ball up, but he's not playing the right.
Yes.
Uh, to me,
Yes.
he's not playing the right coverage, and that's a
It's
Tampa call as well.
Io Civis, I think, 80. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Reflecting on our usage of the Tampa 2 here and you mentioning it, recall that after let's see, they went to the Super Bowl in what, 2021 and
21.
lost to the Rams?
Yep.
2022, the next year, the first like 4 or 5 games of the season, teams were playing Tampa 2 an inordinate amount of the time against the Bengals. Now, at the time it was presented as, oh, they're trying to avoid giving up the big plays to Chase and Higgins, which probably some truth to that.
Hmm.
I wonder if maybe Burrow just doesn't do as great a job against Tampa 2 as he maybe does against other coverages.
Yeah.
We don't have access to that data, but I'm sure NFL teams do. There's people out there in social media who think they have the accurate data and they present some of these things and it's like that's not true. And I'll give you one example. I'm not going to name the person, but they were talking about the Detroit Lions defense being one of the more multiple and diverse from a coverage standpoint in the NFL. And it's like, where are you getting this information? They show you man and they play man. I mean, like that's what they do. And then when they do play zone, they say they play it so infrequently that they don't play it well. Because it's not who they are. It's not what they do. It's not what they major in. So maybe Burrow doesn't show a high completion percentage or yards per target, yards per throw against Tampa 2. And maybe that data is out there for NFL teams, the people who have the actual real data, not people like us who wish we did, right? So maybe that's why we played so much of it, because it still gives them trouble.
Yeah, I was just happy to see that the coaching staff was watching our show, Coach. they started letting the rush guys rush and the coverage guys cover, and it seemed to work.
Well, that ain't our saying. That's Ray's saying. I think
Right.
I think it was Ray talking to Dean Pease in 2012, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Against the Patriots in the AFC title game, I believe.
Yep.
I did have, I guess we'll do the glitch blitz.
Okay.
I mean, I love the glitch blitz, so it's something I enjoy talking about. But I recognize that I've said that phrase so many times just in the last 3 days, 4 days. It's a beautiful concept, and I said this to Bobby and Sarah. Draw this very crudely. If it was, a Venn diagram where you've got, your man coverages. I'm not going to be able to do this without destroying the flow of the show. My apologies. Where you've got man, and then you've got zone, right? And there's some overlap. Sorry, there's some overlap. I don't know what the glitch blitz is. I think the glitch blitz exists in its own entity, like way up here somehow. It's not. It is man coverage, but it's not in here. It's not. There's no zone element. Well, I guess the zone element to it is the fact that the D tackles are dropping out. So it works out beautifully for us here. I think we catch Burrow. He believes that it's man, and he's technically correct. They had motioned the running back out. I think Roquan went with him and then came back, but maybe I've got that from the end zone angle. And then Burrow kind of made a check, with a confirmation with everybody. Part of me is like, if you think it's man, why aren't you going down here?
This is third down, right?
This is third down. It's 17-0 right now. So from a Joe Burrow perspective, all the decisions that he's given credit for making, processing things, and yes, there's immediate pressure by Tavius Robinson. This is an extremely poor decision. You throw an incomplete pass or even take a sack. You kick the field goal, it's 17-3. You go play defense with about 8 minutes left in the game. You're down 14. That stinks. I know from a Bengals perspective. But this can't happen. If the roles were reversed, and this is Lamar Jackson, and this happens against sticks blitz zero or cover zero, whatever people want to call it, this is going to be talked about a whole lot. And so Burrow appears to be dealing with something related to the efficiency with their team or his motivation to play. Who knows? Stuff like this doesn't help. It's the zone dropping defensive tackles. And in addition, we've got man across the board, and I think this is a great job of these two guys, Gilman and Starks, handling this route combo.
Yep. And that's where he wants to go, right?
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the read. That's the read. And I think Burrow's excellent pre-snap, and he's also excellent post-snap at reading things and throwing the ball where it needs to go. Well, the problem is he can't throw this yet because Travis Jones dropping out underneath. I said this to Bobby and Sarah, and maybe I didn't say it in the right way. Man, inside linebackers, defensive linemen, you dropping from an inside-out angle, and you get a crosser right next to you. I want a KO. I don't mean knocking the guy out physically. I mean not a KD, knock him down. Mm-hmm. Impede that route. And unfortunately for Burrow, by the time he feels like he can throw it, Gesicki has cleared here. Multiple things are happening. Gilman's in position to make the tackle anyway, on the throw to Gesicki. Or if Burrow, puts the ball up, Gilman could maybe make a play on it. Unfortunately for him, Van Noy is in the window and the throw is way, way off target. Great moment, man.
Awesome. I mean, just, super, super moment. Exciting. I don't care who you're watching the game with or who you're rooting for, just to see the way that they played this was so slick. Yet Burrow does not want to be out there. He doesn't want to get hit again. That's just a terrible throw. You're right. If Lamar puts that ball up like that, it's all over. It's all over the news feeds.
The glitch blitz has given us trouble in at times. And so some of these teams, man, I actually had the Bills play. I talked about it on Bobby and Sarah's show. The Bills did so much in week one to kind of defeat it. It's the tipped pass for a touchdown in the fourth quarter on 4th and 2 when we're up 40-25. Because these edge defenders, or these edge blitzers, I should say, Simpson is one and Hamilton is the other. I think they've got a blitz peel rule now. So if the running back, was to release to this side, then Hamilton's no longer blitzing. Hamilton is going to take him because it is man. Conversely, if the running back crosses Burrow's face, now Hamilton doesn't have a man to cover. He's going to blitz. Mm-hmm. And then in addition, Simpson has a man to cover. He's going to peel off and cover Chase Brown. I think that's the rule that they've got. We would call it blitz peel. You're either blitzing or peeling. And the math really starts for me right here with the left guard opposite the nickel DB who's blitzing. That's the free rusher that we want. That's Arthur Millette in 2023. That's Kyle Hamilton with the 3 sacks against the Colts in 2023. Or maybe it was 2.5 sacks. The count starts with, defensive tackle, or in this case, OLB, on the guard opposite the nickel. And then the count proceeds with the nose tackle on the center. So 1-2, I guess, if you want to call it, or you can call it 4-3. And then the third part of the count, the fourth part of the count. What that means is if the running back releases here, like I just described, then there's nobody to block Kyle Hamilton.
Right.
But that's not what a running back does here. He actually releases steps to Kyle Hamilton, and as a result, Trenton Simpson's blitzing. So for me, this is the glitch blitz version 1.2 because it kind of used to be, I feel like, a little less of a read post snap for those players. They could, you can just drill that. You can drill that without a ball, really, and no contact. You can just drill it over and over and over again until anyone can do it. The fact that it's Van Noy dropping out here and getting the pick, did it surprise you?
Yeah. Yep. I thought that would be Roquan if we're playing a hook there. And it looks like Jones does widen him, the tight end coming across.
Yep.
Just a terrible ball. Oh, my gosh.
And Tavius is in there to create disruption immediately.
Who does he get? Who does he beat?
No, no one. They don't pick him up. So
Uh,
watch these guys. I don't have the end zone angle, I don't believe. Perhaps I can load that up real quick. Give me one moment. I may be able to load that up. My apologies if people really didn't sign up for this level of analysis for this play. All right, I do have this information. I do have it. So, okay. So this is the glitch blitz. Watch the communication between these two guys as it relates to Van Noy, Tavius Robinson, and Simpson. Can you see that okay?
mm-hmm.
This is they had motioned him out, Burrow giving some kind of signal about what he thinks he's got, which is, quite obviously man. So watch the left guard signal, and he's pointing to Van Noy. And then he looks to the left tackle, who points at Simpson. I don't think Orlando Brown is pointing at Tavius. It could be wrong. I think that Orlando Brown is pointing here to Simpson, and I think the left guard is pointing here to Van Noy, basically saying, that's who I've got.
Hmm.
And I think the guard is trying to tell Orlando Brown that he, Orlando Brown, should take that guy. And the running back would handle Simpson if Simpson's a free rusher. It's going to be a free rusher somewhere. If we've got Hamilton off the edge, Simpson off the edge, and, these guys are occupying the 5 offensive linemen, that's basically the concept. To me, it just seems like these guys messed this up. Somebody's going to be free, though. Somebody's going to be free no matter how they do it, right?
Wow. Yeah, because the back goes to get Kyle.
Look at Orlando Brown. I think Brown recognizes in the middle of the play, okay, something's wrong because I'm supposed to get Simpson. Those guys are just not on the same page. We got them here, in my opinion.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to get hit.
Yeah, and there's the dynamic you talked about that he kind of makes Gesicki kind of bow this over the top, and that's going to help Gilman. That's going to help Gilman actually, quote, get there, right?
Yep.
Awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, terrific play. And like you said, like that highlight handoff to Gilman. So cool.
Cool. Once you see it completed, but like when I'm watching this live and I'm seeing the ball just hanging out here, I'm like, man, I guess Van Noy knows, that he's got some space here.
He looks like if he beats that, it looks like he could take it to the house.
I think he could if he only had 40 yards to go. I don't know if he could, with 95 yards to go. I mean, who could? I know I couldn't. It was an awesome moment. And, the glitch blitz, when we first started using it under McDonald in 22 and 23, it was almost 100%. I mean, 3rd and 6, 4th and 4, we run the glitch blitz, stop.
Yeah.
2025, it's spread a little bit. More teams are using it, and teams have more diverse answers for it. And in some cases, they've exploited it, whether it's Seattle, the Ravens, whatever. It's a great blitz, one of my favorite ones to talk about. I know we went on a little long there in the discussion, but it was a great moment. It was a throwback moment for real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was get off the couch. That was a get off the couch moment.
Yeah, I was here at the office watching, so I'm like banging on the table in the office next door. Well, it's a Sunday, so nobody's there, but I'm thinking, I hope they're not hearing me over there drop F-bombs and celebrate. So it'd be great if we could drop another one of these on the Patriots. Got Josh McDaniels, super prepared guy, been in a lot of high pressure moments. They have less than 1 week to prepare for us, however. And they just went through their own issues, obviously losing a game to the Bills. I don't like the dynamic that we can help the Buffalo Bills if we beat the Patriots. That doesn't appeal to me. But we need to beat them. We need to beat the Patriots, right?
Yeah, have to beat them. I think we're in. I don't think we can afford to drop another game. Who's Pittsburgh have this week?
They play the Lions.
Oh. Well, that's kind of nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then we go play Green Bay the ensuing week.
Who just lost pass rusher for the year.
they lost like 3 guys on defense. They had like 3 guys get hurt, and then Christian Watson, super talented receiver, got injured. It was kind of scary. I hope he's okay. I don't really know the status. So they've had it's a different dynamic with the Packers now because they lost Wyatt, the defensive tackle from Georgia,
Mhm.
2 or maybe 3 weeks ago when they played the Lions, when they went to Detroit and won. I guess that was Thanksgiving. My goodness, that doesn't feel like that long ago.
No.
And then Parsons is down, and I think they're down another defensive starter or 2, so different dynamic. But it turns out we may not even need that game. If we beat the Patriots and the Lions beat the Steelers, our result against Green Bay does not matter at all for the division. If we beat the Patriots and the Steelers lose to Detroit, the only thing that matters is the last game of the season. That's
If we
it.
beat Pittsburgh, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people are talking, would we sit Lamar? Would we sit all these other guys? We beat the Patriots. We're looking at 2 wins in a row against quality quarterbacks and Joe Burrow and Drake May. It's difficult for me to stand here and say that we should essentially take the week off. That I don't know that football always works like that. Maybe it could. Maybe it could work out in our favor.
Mhm. I think we need a big game from Lamar to win this Sunday or Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday we play?
I think it's a Sunday game. Maybe it's
Sunday
Saturday.
night, and then the Packers is a Saturday night or something like that.
Yeah, there's so many games on differential days coming up. That's what the NFL wants, right? They want
The whole week.
they
Yeah.
want the whole week eventually. Somehow they'll get it because people won't stop watching. But
Yep.
this. Any closing thoughts here for our guys? I think that there's some obvious players of the week. A critical one for me is that Simpson stepped in and basically did everything that Buchanan could do and almost more from a coverage standpoint. You're not going to see Buchanan on the field like that third and goal
Mhm.
that we just showed. So that was very important for me. And moving forward, it's going to be of tremendous importance that Simpson executes because he's going to be on the field more.
Right. It's a big deal. And just excited to see if that carries over. The Tavius Robinson effect carries over the next week.
Physical guy and great group that we can put out there.
Yeah.
It did seem like Mike Green was on the field a little less to me.
His sack was nice because it's like it was reminiscent of a lot of the sacks he got in college. We're seeing that just crazy effort and that crazy springy athleticism to get off the ground and after missing, I think, on the initial rush and then get back. So yeah, a lot of guys that are spilling their guts out there on defense, and hope that like I said, hope that carries over.
100%. Maybe we need guys like Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis to come to practice more often. Because I think we're 2 for 2 there. Ray came to practice the week of the Browns game, and then Ed came to practice Friday. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't necessarily indicate anything about our current defensive group. Oh, they're mentally weak. They're not focused. No. I'm familiar with the dynamic from like high school and youth football. A player graduates, he goes to college. Maybe he's got this week off. He's not playing this week, and he comes back on a Friday night to watch the game. And the players feel empowered. They want to impress that guy. They want to live up to the standard of what he showed. And that's a real dynamic, in my opinion, that I'm talking about, for my high school, at least dating back 30, 40 years was a real thing.
Mm.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate, all the effort that you put in getting the plays ready. I know we went on a little long here, but it was fun for me.
Good show. Yes, sir. I enjoy it.
Yeah, next week will probably be a little difficult for us to try to administer if we are able to get anything done, during the week of Christmas. It'll probably be shortened, but hopefully we've got tremendous motivation to do so because that would mean that we've come in defensively and put up another high-level performance like this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, thanks for joining me, man, EA, as always.
Sure.
And you guys who, checked out the video this long, we really appreciate you. The production quality of the video I know is lacking somewhat, but hopefully the effort and some of the small details that we've brought to you helped you enjoy this game a little bit more than we already did, right? Shutting out a division opponent and the Bengals, and obviously the Joe Burrow factor, is a real thing.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you enjoyed the video, please let us know in the comment section, number one. And then number two, if you think other Ravens fans would like to hear our thoughts on the game, and then as well as the plays that we use to illustrate them or kind of prove it, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.